Welcome, 8th graders, to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. We're doing something a little bit different. We are bridging two worlds that you might not normally put together, algebraic equations and the condition of your heart. Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to explore the really powerful connection between analyzing our math errors and experiencing true spiritual growth. Now, I know it sounds like a massive leap, but I promise you, the exact same skills you use to fix a math problem are the skills you need to build a resilient, incredibly wise life.
Here is our exciting roadmap for today. We'll be looking at 1. The teachable heart. 2. Unlocking deeper learning. 3. The error analysis checklist. 4. A quick test of your knowledge. And 5. Morality, faith, and education. Let's learn how to turn those mistakes into total tools for wisdom.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the teachable heart, building spiritual and mental strength. Now, whenever we do high-level math, errors are basically guaranteed, right? It happens to all of us. But the rigorous process of checking those math errors is actually a mirror for the spiritual discipline of self-reflection. Building mental strength in algebra literally translates to building spiritual strength in your everyday life. 2 Corinthians 13:5 tells us, examine yourselves to see whether you're in the faith. Test yourselves. I love this because it perfectly captures what we're doing today. Just like testing our faith and really examining our hearts, rigorously testing and reflecting on our math work helps us become stronger, wiser, and honestly, far more faithful in everything we do.
So the crucial point is this. The very best learners out there, the real elite problem solvers, they don't just solve an equation and move on to the next thing. No way. They reflect, they correct, and they actively grow from their mistakes. Because true learning doesn't actually happen when you just get the right answer on the first try. True learning happens in that reflection phase, when you take a misstep and you transform it into a stepping stone.
Moving right along to Section 2, unlocking deeper learning, the why behind the math. We really need to look at the why behind the math here. Why does all of this matter? Well, because mathematics is vastly more important than just writing down a final number and drawing a circle around it. It is entirely about the underlying thinking process. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast between these two mindsets. On one side, we have the focus on just getting the right answer. On the other side, we have the focus on understanding the thinking process. When you make an error and take the time to understand exactly what went wrong, you unlock much deeper learning. This practice of error analysis builds incredible resilience and humility. And here's the best part. When you truly understand your own thinking, you gain the ability to clearly explain those concepts and actually help others.
By the end of this, you are going to master 3 specific skills to become an elite problem solver: identifying and fixing common mistakes, accurately self-checking your work on a quiz, and most importantly, reflecting and growing from those missteps. You're building a super powerful mental toolkit today.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 3, your error analysis checklist, tools for success.
We've talked a lot about the theory, but now we need a practical, step-by-step framework that you can use to self-correct your own work. I want you to treat this 5-step checklist like a diagnostic tool for your brain. Step 1, did I write the equation correctly? Honestly, you'd be surprised how often a simple copying error ruins a perfectly good effort. Step 2, did I identify my variables, my a, b, and c, carefully? Step 3, did I use the correct method for this specific type of equation? Step 4, did I simplify all my steps correctly without losing a negative sign somewhere along the way? And finally, Step 5, does my answer actually make sense in the context of the problem? Running through this quick checklist ensures you are leaving absolutely nothing to chance.
When reviewing your own quiz, or even when you're helping a classmate review their solution, ask these 3 specific questions. First, what mistake was actually made? Second, where exactly did the thinking go off track, like pinpoint it? And third, could a completely different method have helped here? Asking these questions prevents a ton of frustration and completely unlocks your learning process. It just removes all the mystery from making a mistake.
All right, Section 4, test your knowledge, put it into practice.
Okay, it is time to shift gears. Get your pencils ready because we are going to do a rapid-fire sample quiz to test out this brand new analytical mindset of yours. Write your answers down separately and keep that error analysis checklist firing in the back of your mind. Here's your first challenge. Solve this using the quadratic formula. X squared minus 6x plus 5 equals 0. Write this down. As you work through it, deliberately pause and ask yourself, did I identify A, B, and C correctly? Watch those signs carefully.
For our next challenge, choose the best method to solve x squared equals 121. I want you to really evaluate this equation.
Don't just start writing immediately. Think about the absolute best, most efficient method to solve it. What's the smartest path to the answer here?
For question 3, I want you to think way beyond the raw math. What do the solutions of h of t equals negative 16t squared plus 64t actually mean? Look back at that final question on our checklist. Does it make sense in context? What do those solutions actually represent in the real world when we're dealing with things like time and height?
Next up, challenge number 4. Use regression to model these specific coordinates, 0, 0, 210, and 4, 0. Analyze these points, think about the shape they create, and apply your regression modeling skills carefully to find the right equation.
And let's wrap up this rapid-fire quiz with question 5. Which strategy would you use for this equation, x squared plus 8x plus 20 equals 0? Again, before you jump right into calculating, identify your strategy. If you make a mistake here, go right back to the checklist and figure out exactly where your thinking went off track.
That brings us to Section 5, Morality, Faith, and Education. Tying it all together.
Let's take a deep breath. We've done the heavy lifting with the algebra for today. Now, let's look at a biblical morality tip. Learning from mistakes takes a lot of courage. It is not always easy to admit when we're wrong, whether that's missing a negative sign on a math test or saying something unkind to a friend. But God calls us to be humble and teachable. Just like in math, reflecting on our actions, apologizing, and trying again demonstrates true spiritual maturity. See, God doesn't expect perfection from you. He expects a heart that is open to correction and growth.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core philosophy of the Smart Academy Godly Learner series. Education without morality will hurt. Our program deliberately intertwines biblical morality with education because simply having intellectual smarts without a moral foundation is, ultimately, pretty destructive.
I want you to let this deeply provocative question sink in for a minute. What is the point of being smart and supposedly educated if we just continue making bad choices that hurt ourselves and others? Checking your moral math, doing your own spiritual error analysis is quite frankly the most important skill you will ever learn.
We're going to conclude today's explainer with a profound promise found in Romans 8, 6-7. It promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. When you maintain a teachable heart, when you combine a rigorous education with deep moral reflection, the result is lasting peace. This isn't just a theory, it is the daily experience of people who engage with this path. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Are you willing to be brave enough to analyze your errors, correct your path, and let your education lead you to true peace of mind?